How you doing, stud?
Hey.
Let's get to it.
How are you? Yeah.
I'm good, how are you? That was the funniest shit I've ever seen. That's the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's weird jumping right into it on
Yeah.
the first sentence. Feels weird.
It was pretty funny though, how you said it though. I'm good. That was pretty good. That was pretty funny.
I've been sitting here and thinking it's funny in the sense as well that it is good, but it's also not. Oh.
Well, I think there's nothing wrong with just saying, like, you don't need to explain yourself to me.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say it as it is. Now, there's something I wanted to just introduce this with, and it's the integration of our dark nature changes the trajectory by which we seek God. You could actually begin to start looking low enough where he really is. And then you could see him in all things. Wanted to just start that off there because where we love, where we do good, where we find God, some of the darkest places of existence. It's in the pupil of your eye. Somehow light shines through. Well, Aldo, go for it, man, because we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun with whatever this is.
I mean, yeah, I got my parents. Took one of my boys with me. And yeah, you were right in that sense that when I get further from where I was, yeah, the anger gets more access.
Okay, no, because I sense a shift in you're much more in your body. Do you want to just tell me what's going on? Because it's there. You know, you don't need to like fucking, you're not when you came here, man. You've come so far. You understand that Thursday was miracle work. Thursday was miracle work. Like you moved some mountains. Okay, so yeah, you became aware of a lot of the anger. I want to know, where are you since our conversation? Don't explain yourself, just express yourself.
I'm just angry or feeling anger.
Hell yeah, man. Welcome back to planet Earth. Holy shit, welcome back to planet Earth.
Yeah.
Good.
Towards the X.
Amazing. I want you to know this, that this didn't just come out of nowhere. It's been there all along. You were betraying yourself constantly. By the way, where there's anger, oh, there's pain, there's hurt, there's sorrow, there's loss.
Like the betrayal.
The betrayal?
Yeah.
Betrayal to yourself too, by the way. You take the first place on that one. You take first place on that one.
Absolutely.
Because we were watching it. We were watching it live time, 4K streamed video. We were watching it. We were watching constant betrayal. Now, doesn't diminish where you have been betrayed, but you know you continue to betray yourself. It's just as bad. It's a learned behavior.
Yeah.
Well, this is great, man. Keep going. Express the anger. Because you're getting clear about what's happened, what you've done to yourself. The pain.
Yeah, it's just like from her giving up to what we fucking worked on for so long. But then just like when... Okay, I'm not expressing the anger.
Yeah, you saw that? That was really good. You're actually fucking doing great at this, man. You're doing really great at this. Because, yeah, you went there and then you, like, floated out. Just come back in. Speak slower. That's another one. Speak into the emotions.
It's just hurt and disappointment and anger. And it's when I get silent. I don't connect to the raging out when I'm angry.
Well, you have two options then. You could blow up or be silent, because that's what you've really told me. The people who say I don't really connect to the being angry, typically seen that in a caretaker and been like, I'm not like them. Did you ever do that?
No, because my parents were never really like that kind. That I did the whole like I'll never be like my father thing when I was younger.
Yeah, those words are pretty much like grabbing your balls and then taking a pair of scissors and going like this. Because that's actually what you said. It's a terrible thing to do. I'll never be like my father? What the fuck? Your father's the devil.
Yeah. But yeah, that's okay. So a very fair point. Like that's where he is coming out in me when I get angry is exactly like him in the sense that I get poisonous.
You get poisonous. So are you familiar with how women express anger?
Same way.
Yeah, they get extraordinarily manipulative. They start utilizing every single narcissistic tactic, and they resort to defamation of the person. Right? Do you understand the reason why male aggression is a vulnerability is because you are embodying the authentic expression by which the way you do. Now I'll tell you what makes, this is really, really important here. Aggression, dark nature, sexuality are all the same conversation. They're the means by which you express your capacity, right? It also starts to make you really question the nature of what can be loved or what cannot be loved. There's also a lot of fear of the unknown about it. But I think you're kind of like hitting a wall here. I think you're realizing that in order to heal, you have to be able to express that kind of darkness.
Oh.
So I find that to be also really interesting. Why? Why can't I just like sit down and just breathe, right? I've actually noticed something, is that in the ability to express your hurt and your pain, there are your emotions, because you're no longer playing it under a narrative, a subconscious narrative of your own virtue, of your own betterment, of your own sanctimony, your own high horse. Because pain doesn't really work that way. Pain doesn't work in... Pain can only be felt when fully internalized. And in that, well, you have to transform. You are showed who you are in relationship to your hurt. I know we'd like to feel better about ourselves, but what good does that do? Does that change how much it hurts? Like a father leaves his son. Sure, he's a cunt dad. Yep, he's a cunt dad. No question about it. Does it make it hurt any less? No. Right, but you are left with something, recognizing that you would do the same. And let's not make it about how everybody would. Let's start working on how we really integrate the shadow. Your own personal relationship with it. The reason why it heals so deeply is because it shatters identities. And not only does it shatters identities, it integrates you with your capacity, your ability to achieve your untapped potential. So now you're interacting with a lot of aggression. Well, that's great. You're realizing where there's a lot of pain and where there's been a lot of falsehood. And you're recognizing, I want to not be in this home anymore. I want to get the hell out. By the way, it's actually really powerful, Lalo, because within 10 weeks, you've opened up. And I think the nature of what a lot of people don't know is that when they open their heart up, there's pain there. There's sorrow there. There's loss there. And at first, there's more anger than you know how to express. I know that's what you said. Things are good. I'm not feeling good. What was before, man? That was scary. Can we look back? How do you feel about that?
I mean, yeah, it's just, it's just true is the only word that's coming to my mind.
It's just what?
I can't even like put a label on it, like whether it's good or bad.
Come back. I asked you the question, being able to look back at the situation you were in before to where you're in right now. Where would you like to be?
The situation before being married in that situation, or
Every moment of suppressed anger, suppressed pain, suppressed sorrow, and narcissistic narratives.
I need to be here, I want to be here.
Yeah, because that was all manipulation and poison. And I think what you found to be interesting is that you refuse to do that to anybody else, and in that have poisoned yourself in ways that are unimaginable. But I want you to understand something, that the worst possible harm that you could do to other people is hurt yourself at times. Are you aware of that? You know, the worst thing that a person can do is take their own life. And that's, by the way, not to themselves. It's the kind of pain they inflict on other people. You know that. That hurt?
Yeah, I thought of
You don't understand that kind of hurt. You know what you're sending them a message about. Fuck you all. You're all not enough. You're telling me you don't struggle with not enough? I struggle with not being enough all the time. It's the doors of truth. It's the recognition of reality proving itself. It's the inevitable journey until a choice to become. You make a choice. Well, you don't just get to that choice. There's a journey to that choice. Well, thank God there's a journey to that choice, because you need to internalize that choice. You need to be able to see things through before you actually really understand the weight of a decision. To just make something in opposition of something you're uncomfortable of is not a choice. Whatever that is makes me uncomfortable, so I'm going to choose this. That's not choosing that. That's being scared of that. Man, your aggression. Thank God. But I want you to know something here, is that you do need to get to the pain. Because right now, I could feel it. You want out of that house. You want into your life. All right? But I want you to associate more to this, because I can't be the one speaking for you. I can't. I could speak to it, but I cannot speak for you.
I'm going back tomorrow, but not to the house. I'm going back to the motel.
You moved out.
I just want out.
Okay.
Because
Great work. Are you ready to call a friend so that he can do all the talking with your ex?
still struggling with that, considering
Yeah.
like the
You owe nothing to your ex-wife. I want to let you know that, because she made that very clear in the divorce, and you're pissed as fuck because guess what? Her life didn't change for jack fucking shit. You're more than pissed. You're vengeful. Just remember that. And I'm not judging you, man. I'm not judging it. I'm just trying to let you know it ain't worth the vengeance. I think it's about transformation in your own life, okay? I'm not going to let you be a blumbering fool in your fucking 40s. All right? That's not going to happen. You know you're not going to let that happen either. A resentful, poisonous, castrated, porn-watching, psychologically, emotionally manipulative man. That's not where we're going anymore, are we? No, and I know before you go, hey, I wasn't that, be like, you didn't need to wait till your 40s to be that. And I think it started with the word vampire. Started with the word vampire. You're doing really good. You might need to be ready to be the bad guy. You know what I'm really saying? You start becoming a good guy. You don't pick this path, Alo. It picked you. All right? The truest part of you picked this path. Okay? But right now, you don't feel that way. You do not feel that way. You feel vengeful. You're bordering bitter. You don't need to go there. Bitter is an unrecoverable state. We don't need to go to bitter. You're not bitter. You're vengeful. But I can tell you one thing. You're hurt. You're deeply hurt. And you are in this space to integrate the man you want to become. There's opportunity like you can't imagine. I don't want you to get rid of your hate, because you have plenty of that. That you wouldn't be poisonous unless you didn't have hate. I don't want you to get rid of your resentment. I don't want you to get rid of your anger. I want you to acknowledge it. I want you to learn how to express it. I want you to get closer to it. I want you to realize your authentic behavior. I want you to see little glimpses of who you are. And that only comes out every blue moon. Okay? What do we often do when we have a bad day? We go, the circumstance brought that out of me. I'm not that kind of person. What you actually just said is that the circumstance determines the kind of person that I am. The worse the circumstance, the worse person I become. Now, that either exists about you all the time, which means that it's not something that you're authentically living with, and that you need to be pushed to extremes in order for that to come out, which means that you're probably not that integrated with that part of yourself because you never even began to question how damn capable of destruction it is. Man, dude, there's only one way here. Transformation. Transformation. I want you to get clear about what you really want to do, because it's a little more violent than you'd like to admit.
I just want to cut everything. Disappear from her field of, not disappear from myself, but from her. Like, there are so many fucking tendrils, or whatever you want to call it, between us still right now. Yeah.
Well, I think it's really important to understand something, that these tendrils, I think it's good to recognize how dishonest you've been up to this point. How much you've betrayed yourself.
Yeah. I've completely ignored myself in this whole situation, even with organizing the divorce, how that went.
How did you do that? Let's get closer to it. How did you do that?
Everything, I let her decide everything. I left her the house. I didn't ask absolutely nothing financially regarding the house, because like we were paying the mortgage and everything, and I had been paying that. So I just we re-signed the mortgage or whatever, and we did some kind of whatever calculations based on basically alimony or something. But she took everything. I just took my clothes, basically, and my PC, and just walked out with my hands in my pockets.
So virtuous.
And everything was as she asked. We discussed how should the boys leave. She said that they need to stay there. We talked about the house. I didn't ask anything from her regarding that. She had also, in the beginning, promised to, when we did the down payment for the mortgage, she was supposed to pay back half of it. She had an apartment she got. She was supposed to sell it. She didn't give, I never saw any of that. And, yeah, she keeps still asking for more.
Okay.
It seems like putting
Ooh, okay.
You're avoiding responsibility. You're avoiding responsibility. The kids
Oh,
are
nice. So you're getting emotionally manipulated too? Are you ready to be called a narcissist in 5 minutes after you stand up to yourself, for yourself? Isn't that fucking crazy, dude? Isn't that fucking crazy? This happens for both parties, by the way. Both men and women do this shit to each other. One person finally has enough and they go, I'm done with this shit. And they're like, oh, you narcissist, you selfish motherfucker. You're like, you're right. I wasn't actually integrated with this part of me to begin with. That's why I agree to this fucking nonsense.
Yep. Exactly.
No, I'm just being honest with you. You're doing great. You're doing fucking great. You're like fucking vengeful, dude. I told you, like, I don't know, angry, right? And then there's like, no, frustrated. We can start with frustrated, you know? And then you get like pissed, fucking angry, rageful. It's like vengeful. I mean, that's pretty remarkable, man. We hit vengeful pretty quick. By the way, you actually are aware that what you are up against is not getting your shit back. You are going to deconstruct an identity that's ruined your life. Remember, it's kept you alive, but you've died inside.
Yeah.
That's what's scaring you right now.
Yeah, the point isn't to get the money or whatever. Like, I'm not interested in that in the best of circumstances. Whatever.
But I do want you to realize that you didn't consider yourself at all because you wanted to be seen as the good guy. And now you can actually hit up your ex-wife with this fucking mask on, by the way, which is just purely poison. And she goes, I'm willing to coach you to help you through this. You understand? When you told me that your wife was a coach, I was like, brother, you are so unintegrated with your darkness, you goddamn married it. Because if you're the fucking Prince of Darkness, then she's fucking Lucifer's wife. But you were just like completely unconscious of, by the way, I don't know if you guys have ever seen The Devil's Advocate. One of the key components of what makes Al Pacino's Devil so amazing is that he's the 5'6" guy you don't see coming. That's what he said. He's like, you're too handsome and slick and out in the open. It's obvious. Me? They'll never know what fucked them so good. Probably one of the greatest movies I've ever watched in a long time. But it's funny that I watched it the other day. I've been interacting with a lot of dark nature. I've been interacting with it even in my personal life. You get a load of this. A person that I've been working with for 2 years that I developed a personal relationship with. One of my old clients, who's been practicing defamation, by the way, because there's a reason why she's no longer my client anymore. She didn't want to integrate this part of her. She just wanted to project it onto me. She started reaching out to personally people that I knew and sending them messages saying that I am a narcissist who manipulates the women in the group to sexually interact with me. And the crazy part is that I've had a relationship with this girl for 2 years. She's done spiritual work on me. She's met my soul. There's only a few people who've met my soul. She's one of them. Okay? Guess what? Naftali, I think you should, pay more, I think you should pray for protection in your business. There's an ex-client that reached out and told me these things. And I was like, first off, that message is a threat. 2, why the fuck are you sending me a text message? Call me. I called her. Don't want to be on that side of the thing, right? Because I think the nature of betrayal works a little like this. You have to find out things. You are not told them. I mean, that makes you more vigilant in general with people, I have noise around intimate relationships for a fucking reason. It's not just like, this is fun. No, I said, hey, who's the person? Tell me who the client is. Who's the old client? I won't tell you. I made them a promise that I wouldn't say. And I said one thing, where's your loyalty? Who's it for? Who's it towards? Myself, is what she said. And I said, oh, well, if it was, I pay you more money than whoever the fuck that is. So you're clearly not loyal to even that. Why do I need to pull teeth for someone that I consider a friend? Okay? And I said, is this just somebody who sent you one voice note about what's happening in the business? Because I want to let you know I record all my videos. You could take me to court right now. I just become famous. I just be another guy who's taken to court for sexual assault charges. It doesn't even exist. I am not worried, not even in the slightest. She tells me, we've been talking since April. I was like, an old client of mine? Why are you talking to an old client of mine since April? The fuck is this? And I said, personally, I actually don't feel that this person is reaching out to other people in my business. I feel that this person is reaching out specifically to you. And she goes, well, we've been talking for 3 hours. I said, 3 hours and you didn't think to give me a call? She goes, yeah, I was talking for 3 hours to convince her otherwise. I said, slow down there. I don't think you were convincing her of anything. I think you were trying to convince yourself of it too. I then said, have you ever heard the expression? Befriend your enemies and make enemies of your friends? That's what happens to people that don't know themselves. They befriend their enemies and make enemies of their friends. I said, finally I got the name. And I said, are you kidding me? I said, are you kidding me? I was so upset. I was so upset. I was so pissed. Because it's like, what? Why do you believe that? Because ultimately you wouldn't be interacting with it unless you yourself believed it. It's like you yourself were entertaining the same projection. And I said, do you understand the timing of this? Like the people in my business, the projected dark nature thing, I've been interacting with this since I was me. By the way, it's a very common thing I interact with. I'm not perfect. Absolutely, I'm not perfect. By the way, thank God I no longer have to pitch myself as a saint. There's a lot of freedom in that. I'm not like, guys, this penis hasn't touched another woman in years. No, I'm not a monk. I don't look to uphold idealism anymore. I look to be real and develop a relationship with the divine through that. That's what I look to do. Fuck the idealism. It hasn't served me. It never has. It's never showed me how to show up to my life. It's projected me into a future that doesn't exist. And the further away I am from that future, the more hopeful I am. What is that kind of masochism? Anyways, I said, hey, the fact that it took you this long in order to tell me these things and you didn't think to call me first, I don't think we're good. I do not think we're good. She hangs up. Look, the timing of these things, Allo, it's hurtful. These things are hurtful. They're really hurtful. But I want you to know something, that there is anger. I was with my friend watching a movie, and I said, you know what? Fuck you. That's what I really want to tell you. Fuck you. You're a fucking worm. That's what you are. A fucking worm. I don't know if you can feel the pain there. There's pain there. There's a lot of fucking pain there. Like, oh, you had one thing to do. One thing to fucking do. Not entertain, first off, because what was the projection? That I was emotionally manipulating everybody. And I'm a narcissist. I'm a narcissist and I'm extraordinarily emotionally manipulative. I know that about me. So I asked her, I said, oh, what did she say that I am? Am I those things? I said, okay. I know that about me. She goes, yeah, I know you know that about you. I said, do you want to know what just happened to you? Do you want to know what she just did to you? She goes, yeah, I was emotionally manipulated. I said, yep. Now, you might notice things about people that can be emotionally manipulated. I'll tell you something. They're typically not integrated with that part of themselves either. What do you think happened in the podcast? My media manager went like this. Yeah, narcissist too. Oh, do you conveniently have a terrible relationship with your aggression, your sexuality, and your father? There's nothing I could do about this. I've noticed something. I'll tell you something. There's no shortage of love that I have for my father. None. I have a great relationship with my father. It's been better the more I've embraced my sensitivity, because that's from him too. My mother, not the greatest. It has not been the greatest. My whole life it's not been the greatest. Even now, not the greatest. I have to be real with what it is. It's better, it's still not the greatest. I still have a lot of resentment around that. I hate to admit it, but a good thing to at least know where it's sourced from. Because it's going to start showing up in my other relationships, that's for sure. But, you start talking about betrayal. I understand a thing or two about betrayal. This is very hurtful stuff. Why aren't your friends coming to you with these things? Oh, well, maybe you should consider the foundation by which you built your friendships. Because I'll tell you something, Allo. My friendships, if not built on truth, they crumble when the truth comes up. And right now, I think you're recognizing the nature of what's crumbling. Your old life's crumbling. And I know, by the way, every part of you wants to leave it all. I think there's a few things that you could do in order to make this what you call damage control, controlled demolition. All right? You ever seen Demolition with Jake Gyllenhaal? Great movie. It's about what it is to let the individual be born is an act of demolition. It's a demolition act where they need to be willing to break things down. And he developed a compulsivity where he starts taking apart clocks, destroying his own home, taking apart refrigerators, taking apart computers, right? And you start thinking about why would somebody seek to deconstruct things like that? To find the authentic spirit and build it from the ground up. You want to know something about the spirit, guys? You know how fast that grows? There is no limit to its heights. What you've spent your whole life building, that's false. In the years that you've spent into it. Build it from your soul up. Your head will be over the clouds just by you taking the old life apart. We grow in relationship to our deconstruction. That's actually how we grow. You built it to go through the clouds, but you got pretty close, but not quite. And every little block that you took, eventually you're down on your knees and you're holding the last little piece and you're taking that apart. And as you stand up, your head's above the clouds. That's how growth works. You just grew things that weren't you. Why not try growing you? In a single step, you can cross an ocean. No one even said you had to run. The operation by which we do things, the soil where we plant the seed, that's everything. This operation is changing. The soil was bad soil. And you always criticize the fruit. Look at the foundation. The grounding. Look, the timing of this whole thing. I then was, of course, sent an 8-minute voice note of somebody explaining themselves, and not one thing throughout the whole 8-minute voice note was, "I'm sorry." That doesn't make anything better. But look, there's also a part of me that negotiates with the relationship. Like, I understand you, Allah. Why do you want to lose people? Who wants to lose people? I want you to recognize that part of you too, okay? I want you to find the part of you that's scared, that was scared to lose her. Lose her for good. Lose your kids for good too, by the way, because it happens more often than you think. It happens more often than you think. Okay? It's a very sad story, but it happens a lot, okay? It's your reality, it's your life, and it's not easy. You're not alone. You're not alone. By the way, we're pretty strong, tight-knit group here. Small and mighty. We could do a lot. We have done a lot. Look at you now. Just a little bit of support, how far you've come. You talk about wealth, you talk about your future, you talk about love, you talk about connection. I see all of that for you. Now I see all of it for you. Beforehand, you put yourself inside of a dome, a steel dome.
Yeah, there's a lot of loss regarding this as well.
Don't even get me started, man. I don't think you need to even deny that about you. I want to give you the luxury of the wisdom I've learned so far about integrating your shadow. You don't need to avoid the pain when doing it. You can let it bring you closer to the pain. I always used to think of it as this way. Just shut yourself down, fucking rip the arm off, become a son of a bitch. Does it work? Yeah. Do you need to go back and pick up the arm? You absolutely do. Because you are not leaving with any missing parts of yourself. You have to go back. I don't want you to do that, Allah. I want you to realize how much fear there is of losing her, your children, how much hurt there is, how much loss there is, how much sadness there is. You don't want to leave your heart behind, because that's exactly what we need in order to build that future. We need your heart. What do you think made you make those choices to begin with? You were like, all of the other parts of me, don't need to consider. But in doing that, you took a shit on your heart. You just completely devalued it. And now, of course, you want to confirm that you don't need it in your life. It's just a bullshit software. It's a sensitivity software. Why do I need it? Something my friend was telling me. He was like, you just have a more advanced sensitivity software if you were a T800. And I was like, brother, you're fucking hilarious. That's the funniest shit I ever heard. You know how funny that is? He just goes, you just have like your circuit board's just more sensitive. And I was like, brother, if I'm a T800, then I guess I'm just a more sensitive T800. I like it. I like it. Which, by the way, is actually true because the survival mechanism looks like a T800. And what do you think narcissism is? An advanced circuit board. Yeah, right? That smile is quite charming. Oh, those emotions are so deep. Right? Isn't that crazy? You're right. I was like, dude, you are right. There is a part of us that is a T800. I know it really damn well. What do you think narcissism is without the integration of heart? What do you think? Yeah, it's just a T800 with an advanced circuit board. That's all it is. And it's like, well, what's a good person? Well, you need that exact circuit board. Okay, good thing you got it. Now, what's the nature of your emotions? Are they crocodile tears? Do you manipulate people with it? I used to do that all the time. I didn't cry real tears until I learned what it is to be a selfish person. And only through that was I able to feel for others. And I mean it. You guys want to know something really powerful? I found parts of me not by trying to love other people, but by accepting that I only love myself. That what I would do for other people is I'd give my life for them. I know the people I do it for. My father. Do it a minute. I'm sure he wouldn't let me. But it was a story my coach was telling me that his father during COVID gave away a loan to somebody at the time where you couldn't give away loans. And his father was busted. The guy came in with a wire. And look, he's trying to help somebody out in one of the worst times in human history. I think what happened during 2020 was the worst thing that's ever happened. Worst thing that's ever happened to people. I think a lot of the mental illness that we're seeing right now and the emotional disembodiment and the split that we're seeing a lot of is from that. The next week, he's driving his dad to a state prison. An elderly man. And by the way, when I saw that, what I heard in my soul was, take me. Take me instead. Take me instead. Now, I never knew that part of me, Alo. We all have that part of ourselves. The same part of you, Thomas, that really looked to help your ex. Because you were unaware of who you were really helping, you took a fat shit on your heart. You devalued that. Because I know that there is a part of you that does want to do good. But have you ever felt disconnected from it? Like, who are you really doing it for? Like, when you let her have the house, was that for her? Fuck no, it wasn't. It was for you. It's called self-preservation, identity preservation. If you want to talk about what was for you, I need 30 grand because I'm going to need a lot of hookers in Colombia, and I get half the house. And if I don't get half the house, we sell the fucking thing right now. Right now. Well, what about the kids? Fuck the kids! That's you. You want to see how I feel about the kids? They make great shields. You grab one, honey, I'll grab the other. And by the way, before you go ahead and say, hey, Naftali, I want to leave this class. You're kind of scaring me. Talk to divorce lawyers and they'll show you about people. I fucking find it so repulsive. What people would like to be versus who they are. Who they are? You're made in God's image. You are unconditionally loved and more than enough for the very monster that you are. You don't even have an understanding of the kind of love that you have. This weird perversion of morality, guys, this perversion of goodness repulses me. Perversion of purity, spirituality repulses me. I have an aversion towards that. I have to wash my hands when I shake somebody who's religious hands. I'm like, oh, this is really dirty. But you heard that? Fuck the kids. That part of me I'm integrated with, for the most part, okay? I don't think, by the way, anybody's fully integrated with anything because you wouldn't have a life to live if that was the case. But I do believe that it is our due diligence in relationship to those parts of ourselves that quantifiably make a difference in our life and show up today. They show up today. You know what's funny? I'm coming full circle. What made me start this business, Dark Nature? I haven't talked a lot about dark nature in a little bit. It's been about a year since. Like really, look at it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's been a minute. Well, I'm kind of recognizing the nature of the heart in relationship to it. What am I really speaking about? Our potential. That's what I'm speaking about. That's why I started all of this. That's true about me. It's true about you. We can't leave that behind. That's why we're here. When you start thinking all of what the greatest gift that you've ever been given in the midst of this pain, and I want you to be able to experience something, the spark of your soul. Something in you has ignited. It's inspiration. Don't you feel that? That was a fire. The match struck a light and caught. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Now you can attract things in your life because your soul's alive. And here's the good news. You're not doing this in your head. How do I know? You're angry and in pain. Which means you're on the path. I did this in my head. Nothing happened. Now you got to feel it in your body because then you're experiencing it. I said this to my brother the other day, the one that I talk about that I got married and has 2 kids and unfortunately has to raise his kids on his own. Because that's exactly what happens to people that, marry to preserve an image. They don't marry somebody that meets their needs. I think you also feel that level of betrayal too. And by the way, let's be real. You had a silent home growing up. A silent home. Do you think you were seen? Do you think you had room for expression? Any of this kind of expression? If you did that, you'd be sent to a penitentiary. Even for you. Look, Thomas, you were sent to, anger management as an 8-year-old? Do you understand how absurd that is? Do you understand how absurd that is? It's like they've had no understanding of aggression at all. When I see a kid who's really angry and has a lot of energy, I see somebody who's misunderstood and needs the ability to be able to let that shit roll. You are some of the most capable people I've ever met. You know that. You're afraid of your capacity, Allo. Thomas feels guilty for it. He's like, oh, fuck, I'm going to hurt people, right? But you're at different levels of the game here. You have Thomas to look up to in a lot of ways. He's got different problems, but it's something about lying to yourself is so damn exhausted. You guys understand the burden of that? You understand the constraint of your expression? Because when I see an angry kid, I'm not send him to anger management. It's the very thing that makes them angrier. What they're really telling you is find a box, put it in there, close it up. I never realized how angry I was until I looked at my dad. But it was very difficult for me because he wouldn't show it. He became a silent type in his 50s. Because I kind of noticed that everybody, if you have different kids, which is very, very powerful, is that you get different flavors of the same trauma. Because you get different versions of your parents at different points of life, and you're also born with different parents because they're at a different point in their life. But they're not different. They're just experiencing different parts of them at different intensities. Which is what's also really funny about my oldest brother from my mom's. I have even older brothers than that. Well, they were not disconnected from their aggression at all. They knew that. They were raised with no secrets. Mine? Well, I was raised in the family of self-betrayal, secrets. The very thing that you are, you have to bury. You know that my own expression was reduced to, I'll give you a reason to cry. You understand the threat of sadness in my home? If you felt sadness, you know what that was like doing? It was like betraying everyone. It was an act of betrayal towards God. Because, by the way, unfortunately, that's exactly what happened to me. Everything had to be laced with God in it. You know how vainful that is? You talk about the one commandment that God will never forgive people for, using God's name in vain. You want to know another one? Saying I love you in vain. That's another one. Because I think they're interchangeable. I love you as you fuck someone else. What's your likelihood to love again now? Very low. because they took that away from you too, right? Look, getting closer to the pain, what I've noticed is that we have points in our life where we must. Because every time that we do, the relative identity dissolutes. And in that, our capacity to give increases. What we can express, what we can love, what we do not believe we can love. And I'll tell you, because guys, it comes down to this. There was a part of me that never believed that this part of me could be loved. Well, I was taught a bunch of ideas about what exactly dark nature is, and all of them disconnected me from myself, every single one of them. And I started realizing only as I grew up, like, whoa, this aggression, dude, it flows through me. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. I think it was really, really disturbing to see how much I would be like, I'd never be like that ape. Until you blow up on someone and punch a hole through the drywall. And then, by the way, of course, who are you with? Somebody who's just repressed of that part of themselves, and by the way, simultaneously is terrified of it, because you wouldn't repress something unless you were terrified of it. And they go like this, oh no, you're a monster. The last words you wanted to hear. Probably the words you need to integrate. Oh no, you're a narcissist. Who are you? I don't even recognize you. You're like, I didn't recognize myself either. Yet, it's good to be introduced now. I was speaking with my brother the other day, the one that I said has to do all these things on his own. I told him before working with me, because if he wanted to film content, I said, I will throw your wife under the bus. How do you feel about that? And he goes, I know I got shit. And I said, well, great. This is the place where we clean it up. Because that's exactly what you signed up for. You didn't just sign up to help this guy film videos. No, you didn't. You signed up to the growth that I opened myself up to. And what do you do to invest in it? Just the other day, I told him, I said that if I didn't see you get married, I would have never started this. Not because I'm better than you, but because I'm just like you. I saw myself under the banner, marrying darkness I didn't want to face. And then, also, being a victim to myself. You understand the absurdity of that? I saw it all play out. And I said, I'm worth it. I'm going to give myself a try. I'm going to give myself a shot. It's a shot in the dark, but it's a shot. You understand that there's some sort of, I think there's something extraordinarily courageous about somebody that's willing to pull the bow back and give that shot in the dark. Just to even pick up the bow. Do you understand that in that moment, then you get to see the sparkle of the star? You're like, oh, there, right? Also, just so you guys know a little bit more about this, is the nature of your path is not revealed in like the 4K projection of how everything goes, where you need to be at what time. You're given only the next step. By the way, as you write the story, you start thinking about, well, do I know the ending of this? If you did, it's predictable and boring, for that matter. So, you know, I like the feeling of being able to see the words come through my mouth and then be able to experience the source of creation itself through me. And then I'm like, oh, this is healing for me. This is for me. Do you know the ending? I don't know. I'm loving the story. It's coming to me as I go. Now, this isn't somebody who thinks. This isn't somebody who doesn't think. This isn't somebody who removes themselves from what they can build in this world. I do know that this is somebody who is present, and that has to come first. So, Alla, let's get back to the aggression, shall we?
Yeah, I'm seeing how I'm stumbling and fucking falling all the time on it, or terrified of doing that. Yeah.
What are you afraid of accepting about you? That is becoming more relevant and clear. And by the way, we know it's real. So what are you afraid of accepting about you?
I'm afraid of... I'm afraid of that, the capacity for that darkness. That's because I've seen it, for lack of a better word.
Where?
In me. Not even talking about like how I've lived it out. Like I'm aware I have been living that out as well, but the depth of that capacity, I guess like the cruelty.
Cruelty. I like that. Remember I called you a bully? And you were like,
Yeah.
I was like, no, yeah, you're a bully.
Yeah. And it's kind of personified in me. It's kind of like I don't know, like maybe like an archetype kind of thing or whatever. And it's fucking dark. It's dark and cold. And I'm seeing like how I've been like in a way, in a kind of like in the complete opposite of it. Like I want to be loved. I want to be nurtured. I want to be held. I want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
But then like, what the fuck? Well, seen for that darkness as well? Fuck no.
Beautiful. What happens when you integrate your darkness? You are loved for who you are. You are enough for who you are. You guys don't understand this, but the nature of this work is, what can you be loved for, and what you believe cannot be loved. I could even share this with you, but ultimately, what do you think shadow integration is, if not the embrace of the darkest parts of yourself and loving it? It is a total transformation of the person. If you love it, Allo, it'll be the one thing that is loved. And I want to share something a little bit, because it doesn't just work in relationship to your shadow, right? Dark nature and shadow kind of go hand in hand. The unknown of yourself, you have to be able to seek it like you did the worst of yourself in a lot of ways. It will manifest itself that way. Just the other day, I had a session with my coach. Guys, I don't think I've cried that much in my whole life. An hour of straight tears. Do you want to know what got me there? My brother, who was helping film for my coach, doing some exchange of services, said, hey, I'm going to come by and jump in on your session. And of course, worst possible timing, because I'm at the peak of my sorrow. I've never felt this sad in my whole life. You guys got to watch the fucking recording I just did about, I had this whole dating event. It was a fucking nightmare. I'm learning to laugh at the absurdity of life, the things that are just obsolete. You know, I'm learning to have fun with that. I'm not great at it, but I'm getting there. You know, because there is an absurdity of people. There's an absolute absurdity of people. Can I play with it? It's very beautiful. I even had a dream last night. I was just at fun houses. I was with my nephews. I was at my childhood home. I was best friends with Jacob Elordi, and he's like a very playful, innocent type. It's very fun. he's like, maybe we should, make out in the bathroom, and somehow it works because he's 6'6" and sexy and rich, But I'm just looking on embodying that, whatever it is. It's super fun. I've been having so much fun with it. So much fun with it. And in the middle of the session, I'm telling him a lot about the things that have happened, what has hurt me. And I said, look, man, why the fuck would I even open up to my disappointment around connection if I didn't believe that I am open to connection at all? I wouldn't even open myself up to disappointment. I said, and he also said, well, you have lots of opinions about sadness. I said, of course I have lots of opinions about sadness, but then why would I open myself up to disappointment if I didn't believe that it's something I innately want to love and connect with? If my sensitivity is not a part of myself that I want to come closer to, I wouldn't even have opened up to disappointment, because you don't understand. I see the cycles and it keeps taking me to sorrow, to sadness. The disappointment's part of life. I can embrace that. The sadness, that's where I get choked up. And my brother says, hey, I'm not a fly on the wall anymore, but do you mind if I interject? And there was a part of me that's like, oh, fucking just, can you shut your ass up? Because that's going to happen when you're protective, when you're triggered, that's what's going to happen. And he goes, growing up, tears were a really big problem. Use the word tears. Tears. Because sometimes we're not specific about what sadness is. By the way, you know that I've had tears of joy for people I love more often than I've had tears of sadness. Just want to let you know that. If I had to count my tears of sorrow or my tears of joy infinitely surpass my tears of sorrow. There have been dinners I've had with my family where unfortunately I have to run to my room and journal all of the beauty that I experience. Do you see? My shame is not just for my sadness, it's for my tears, for my sensitivity, for the depth of my emotions. My brother says, yeah, tears were not allowed. It meant you were ungrateful. And he goes, I remember hearing this growing up. I'll give you something to cry for. And then it would like clicked. And it was being sad was a rejection of the people around us. That's what we were taught. Tears of sadness was that there's something wrong with you. And it was like my brother finished the sentence. And then he tells me a story and he goes, do you know who Naftali reminds me of? He's like the guy that's become like super dangerous. And then he meets a very innocent, curious girl. And he's this brooding, mysterious, dangerous man. And she loves this part of him that is deeply sensitive and is very sad. And he can't believe it. And as he said that, I was taking a step back and I said, who can love that part of me? Who can love that part of me? And as that question, it was tears for an hour straight. Because just in the story, I could feel that that part of me could be loved. Because I'm not seeing what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing what they're seeing. And I kept saying it, how can someone love that part of me? How could someone love that part of me? Allo, do you think that part of me was loved as a child? I didn't even get an opportunity to exist. At 25 years old, I had to start. And you would love it. The second I come home, I see my mom. I'm really sad, but I'm not in my head about it. What's her first response? Oh no, what's wrong? Everything okay? And I went like this. Nope, fuck that. Fuck that. Do not like the way that you interact with sadness. Not dealing with this right now. I went to my brother and I'm like, let's go film some content. What's also really funny is that I noticed that when I would continue to interact with it, when it was my heart was not received, I would almost reinforce something in her head, which isn't healthy either. Which is her children aren't their own individuals, but just an extension of herself to work through her own shit. And of course, she shut down like a 4-year-old. I'm like, interesting. It's like, it's important for me not to put my heart in the places it cannot be taken care of. because I knew where it originates. What do you think changed? But look, later that day, I called a friend over and we're having a great time. I was expressing to him all this love that I have for my father, for my life, my depth of emotions, my tears. We were crying while watching the movie together. It was so much fun. It was very intimate. But I said this question: how could that be loved? How could that part of me be loved? And I felt the love in me shine through. It is scary to open up in front of other people. Look, there's a fucking camera on my face. You think that ever controlled me? But it took me, I told him, it took me 2 years to not care that much. It was a breakthrough moment. How can that part of me be loved? I just never saw it as something that could be loved or even questioned that it could. By the way, you start thinking about the infinite possibilities for your life. Have you ever thought of questioning maybe whether or not that these parts of you can be loved? By the way, I just looked at it and I realized that there was nothing but love that I had for it. I just never experienced it before. I never thought that I could bring it to the light. You start thinking about a lot of the parts of yourself that you have a hard time loving, or often the parts of yourself generationally and even developmentally that were rejected. And by the way, there's plenty of ways to reject things. You could genuinely hurt somebody in the state of that vulnerability. If that person does not have a connection with that vulnerability, it's gone. And yeah, it'll show up in your kids and you'll pass that down to your kids. I was crying for an hour straight. Probably, I don't even know if it was a question of how safe I was, but I ultimately knew that I was safe. Safe to ask the question, how can that be loved? That question liberates me every time I think about it. It was something I wrote down with it. It's just, I believe that's really what we remove from ourselves. Let me get this for you guys. How can you love that? Well, I think there's a fear of being seen, right? That's what you're doing right now. You're stepping into the light. That's interesting, but it's also with the darkest parts of yourself. Ooh, okay? Well, they've already been existing. They've just been unconscious. So you've been manipulative and perverted. As much as we have a desire to be seen, we have a desire to hide. That's something we often forget. Have you ever recognized how much fear you have of being seen? I didn't notice that until fucking 2 years of really trying to get to what this is. It did not feel safe. For 30 minutes was just resistance. Just resistance. Smart assery is what I like to call it. My coach was like, look, man, if I'm getting more out of the session than you, well, then you got to reevaluate what we're doing here. I was like, fuck, he's getting more therapy than me. Sometimes I take advantage of that when you guys are like, I'm like, fuck, I want to work through my shit. And you're like, I want some of that. And it's like, yeah, there's enough for everyone to go around. Thomas, how are you doing?
It's a lot, man. A lot of grief.
It's hitting, huh?
I feel a lot. Say again?
Well, I want to know where you've been in this breakup process.
I mean, a lot of grief, a lot of negotiating, a lot of it's fine. It's fine. I haven't talked to her, so we're good. I need to delete her number or ask Trevor to see if she's going to make the mortgage payment next month. It's fine. when Manalo said that about his ex-wife giving up, dude, that hit home. The pain of feeling like that, whether it's true or not, right? That's ancillary. The feeling of feeling like somebody gave up on you.
I'm so proud of you, man. Just in the words that you used there and how intentional you were with it, you actually got to realize where the validity of it is. Whether that being true or not, that is true. That exists. That's, by the way, that's insane. That's like really extraordinary levels of growth just in being able to say that. Because you often notice that you're left with something much bigger than yourself when you're just willing to open yourself up to the feeling that whether that did happen or not, that's already worked itself out, right? But this is true. This I know to be true. That was really incredible. Yeah, I mean, dude, what the hell? That's, yeah, being given up on. There's literally a guy I bumped into the other day. I saw his I thought it was him, just his girlfriend at this event. I saw him, I said, hey, how are you and your girl? And he's like, we broke up. I was like, oh God. I was like, we got a self-loather on aisle 5, And then he says, and I said, oh no, why'd you guys break up? And he goes, why don't you ask her? I was like, oh, I think you just gave me an answer. Whether it is true that you were given up on, or even you gave up on yourself, because so many people do that. Okay, so many people do that. Just to let you know, I was talking to this guy and he was asking me about help with his porn addiction. And I was like, I think I understand the nature of what happened. It's not your story. There's a bigger story here. But that feeling does exist and is true and does have validity. Interact with it. It will give you clarity. We fear that emotions won't because it's like a superstition around it. Oh, if I go there, then I'm just that guy. It's like, no, actually, if you go there, then you're set free from the conversation and liberated. So Thomas, where are you finding yourself stuck? Because I feel like a lot of it has to do with, grief. You don't want to feel like loss. And in that, you start resorting to negotiating. Totally understandable.
Yeah, and it's easy to suppress that when there's not an immediate action item that needs to be taken, right? I have a week before I have to say anything about the mortgage payment.
I like the way you think, man. I like how you resist it, right? You get childish. You get childish, neglectful, right? I don't need to brush my teeth today. I'm young. Right? That's kind of what it sounds like.
Or the pendulum swings to being like, why don't I call her up, let's get coffee, and I can just express my heart. And then I just may as well wrap the noose around my neck.
Yeah. Fucking hang yourself on the fan. Okay, well, one of them is I think all of us, we're negotiating with grief, loss. And I think the nature of how it works is the feelings don't place you in a state of conviction. They open you up to a truth. And in that, you can connect with that truth. There's no connection in truth without feeling. Which is why I always found it absurd when people talk about, values from an ideological standpoint. Have you ever thought about your relationship with those values? And then they're like, yeah, I have. What, your intellectual relationship with those values? No, your feelings are what quantify the connection. So don't tell me what you believe if you don't feel shit. That's going to change the second your heart wakes up 10 years into a marriage, right? And then with that, of course, what comes next? All your unintegrated dark nature. And by the way, they're right about what they saw. We just hate to admit that it was right. So Thomas, what do you need help with? I'm framing it that way on purpose.
Mm-hmm. I don't think I am, I'm not aiming high enough. Which I was thinking about this in the gym this morning because you talk about like sometimes you're finding God, you're aiming too high, but I don't think I'm aiming high enough. And the guilt thing is, I don't know how to, I don't really know how to integrate that.
It's funny I said that. I think that when you stand up for yourself or you are selfish, there's a guilt in relationship to it. But do you kind of see the narcissism in the unconscious experience of your selfishness? I'm going to go there and express
Yeah.
my heart. That's not for her, man.
No, no. And then what I caught myself doing is like doing the vampire thing with attention from girls that I have zero interest in.
Yeah. I hate doing that shit, personally. I'd rather just admit the fact that I'm scared and I don't believe that I'm going to meet anybody and that I'm grieving the past relationships of what I had a little bit more harshly than I'd like to admit.
It has become more clear of like with girls where I'm like, I have a better relationship with women in a sense of like, I can actually be somewhat friends with women. Also, at the same time, there's like this dichotomy of can men and women be friends, but in the past, I would have easily just been like, oh, girl, like whether I'm attracted to her or not, like I would try to sleep with her. And now,
I don't think the whole men and women can be friends thing. I think men and women are not friends. It's not a question if they can be friends. So it's like nothing personal. It's just design.
Yeah.
And I think what you're recognizing is that you would have to prove something to yourself inauthentically around women as a way to validate something in you. And you're finding yourself less inclined to do that. So you're more open to quote unquote friends. But ultimately, you are still seeking validation from women. They reinforce something in you. But also there's a tremendous amount of comfort, whatever that is. And I think it's important for you to pay attention to what it is that you're seeking for, even from the women you consider friends. Because I'm not friends with that many women. I don't have friends. I don't have female friends.
Yeah.
I don't have female friends. I have people that I work with, colleagues, people I love, but I don't consider them a friend in that sense. I could use it just for the social term, but that's not the case. Usually there's something going on, a subconscious contract, a handshake. And you could respect the subconscious handshake, but I want to go back to a little bit of the getting back to the loss, moving on, transforming, growing, letting go. You got mortgage this week. You still haven't deleted her number. Fair enough. And you haven't made it very clear to Trevor that he's going to be the one communicating to her. And he told you that he's open to help you out. Right now, you understand that this thing is near the lip of the cliff and you're ready to push it off. It's not going to be easy. You need someone to hold your hand. Push it with you. Because man, there's grief, man. There's a screaming grief. It's a scream of no. I just pushed away my last chance of being loved. That's what you're going to feel. And I hope you know that we both know that's not true. No, this is the beginning of you loving true. Yourself first. I mean, she's been like a scapegoat to all the things that you don't have to do. She's like, even in the way that you mentioned your mortgage, that part of you is very similar with her. It functions, that's part of your survival mechanism, is like, I don't need to deal with this right now. I don't need to ask myself that question. When you push that off, yeah, you will interact with the question of, what it's going to feel like is I just pushed away my last chance of being loved. And then all the self-hatred's going to come up. All this, beliefs about yourself are going to come up. And I want to work through that with you. And you have to be willing to work through that, or else it's just the confirmation that you made the worst choice in your life and that somebody made you do this. You understand? You have to be connected to this choice and understand that, no, this is finally where I love myself.
Yeah, I can see it already, like the door cracked open with like deleting the pictures and things like that. The asking for help and involving somebody else and the fear of like her wrath of what she'll say, because she's scathing.
I love how Allo is nodding his head here. A lot of you guys feel that you're obligated to soothe that fire. You guys are not obligated to do that at all. You understand that. You are dismissing a lot of pain here. And you are not giving a fuck about yourself and making it about the other person when it's secretly about you not wanting to confront things that are deeply difficult. Deeply difficult.
Yeah. The fear is that it's confirming of all of the worst things. The inadequacies.
She gets angry, you feel guilty. Oh, fuck. I need to go to church. I need to say sorry. I need to gather up some money, rob a bank, maybe murder my friend, get the blood of 3 goats, and then maybe I'll satisfy her. Who are you really doing this for? You understand that the nature of your own guilt is not even because you believe you did something wrong. You just don't want to feel that way because this part of you have such a poor relationship with. You can actually start developing a relationship with and for the first time discover your beliefs about yourself. You've been walking around with handcuffs your whole life. This is a girl that you've been with 2 years ago. Something for you, Allo, about that long, almost 2 years, both of you guys. And it's like, what is this masochism you're doing to yourself and to the other person? You are not helping them. By the way, I really mean this. This is a reason why you don't open your heart to people that mistreated it. You help the other person. You help the other person. Why? But I love them and I open my heart for me. Hey, that's beautiful. You could do that with me, not with them. Because they don't understand the value of it until it's gone. Unfortunately, that's how it works. That's unfortunately how it works. And right now, you guys are taking a fat shit on the love that you've shared, and you are not helping them because you are resurrecting characters from the MCU that died with a purpose. Do you understand the problem with that? Do you guys see what that's done to even like the Marvel Universe? It's like there's no weight anymore. There's no meaning anymore. Have you guys ever noticed that you've taken a shit on your legacy? By the way, it's difficult. It's difficult to let somebody go. You know, like, oh man, you know, like, look, I even struggle with that. There's a girl that I was seeing. I mean, it was just somebody that, like, I don't know, sometimes some people really just hit the spot. You're like, God bless that woman. She was there in a place that I, like, needed someone. And you're like, well, I kind of want to pick up where we left off. And you're like, well, you know, she bumped those numbers up since you last left. I don't know if you want to go back down that route. And you're like, okay, why does that mess me up? Well, because there's loss. Man, there's loss. And look, just, you know how much your heart is begging to feel the love you've shared and the love you do have for yourself and the love you are going to build in your life. And right now, you've kept that door you were talking about, Thomas, this door on your heart. We can't live like that. We have to let go. We have to let go because, let's be honest, if you don't let it go, that will be the last love you will ever have. It's for both of you guys. It's very difficult to make a choice for yourself because I want you to become integrated with the part of yourself that you're afraid of being seen as. If you're integrated with the capacity for evil, guys, there's nothing you're afraid of being seen as. Everything from there on up is fucking Disneyland. Can you love that part of you that's capable of evil? Can you love the part of you that could hurt them deepest? That's the greatest gift you can give them. And in that, you guys will have hidden gifts. So much of the integration of my dark nature made me do this. Oh, I love when it gets hot and heavy and I could fucking drill somebody on an existential level. I'm a sword who likes to cut and likes to cut deep. You think I'm just going to bury that and say that that's not who I am? Through the very integration of that, it's paved my path. Most people do, how sharp is your tongue? And they go, well, I wouldn't cut anyone. Mine can cut someone to the point of no recovery. And I love that. Now, when people go, how could you love that about you? Because it's the part of me that does the most good. What do you mean? How could I love it about me? Without it, I couldn't give that good into the world. You know how much bullshit I have to cut through? And then I actually started realizing there's a part of me that likes to cut through bullshit. I had to do it my whole life. Hey mom, can you love me for being a human? No, I have religious fanatic ideas that do not line up on a logical level. Okay, well now I'm gonna have to go ahead and debate those things logically in order to get that love. Dude, that woman was that woman is an adamantium door that's 14 miles thick. Okay? You're telling me that I don't know how to get through density? I'm born for it. I've been doing it since I was born. Yeah, and by the way, it's like, I got pretty sharp if you're asking me. And by the way, I want to be closer to that part of me, not further away. Closer. All right, guys. It's been a lot of emotional distance, but I would like to get things closer. Closer. Closer to your anger, closer to your hurt, closer to your grief, Thomas. Closer to your fear. Both of you guys closer to your fear. Can we establish the fear? Go like this. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared of being seen. For me, I'm really scared of being seen. I'm scared of being seen. I don't want my tears to be seen. I don't feel safe with those tears. I feel like it's a problem. I feel like it's going to push people away. I feel like I'm not enough. I feel like I have to be something in order to cry. All of those things, limiting. And the ability of, I'm already enough? This is the best part of me. How about, how can it be loved? That's the other question we want to start interacting with. How can it be loved? Whatever that is that we fear being seen, how can it be loved? Can we actually do this too? This is going to be really helping you guys. See why you hide it. Acknowledge yourself while you hide it. Not last night, the night before last night, I had a dream that I was with my nephew and I was in Hogwarts and I wore the invisibility cloak that Harry Potter wears and I was bumping through people's shoulders and I didn't want them to see me. But they would always look like, what moved my cape? And it was, I felt that everybody was out to get me, to hurt me. I didn't want to be hurt. You guys don't understand the sensitivity of a child. Do you guys understand the vulnerability of a child? You know, you're so vulnerable that you are as influenceable as you are hurtable. I don't know if that's a word. You're as influenceable as you can be hurt. We are so impressionable as children. We are not weak. When that part of you is not loved or not showed up for, the first thing you think is that's not enough. That must be something bad about it. You guys understand what you'd be willing to do for love? And that's the question I want to leave you with. What would you be willing to do for love? But I want you guys to see how you're betraying yourself. Because what you'd be willing to do for love if you were conscious about it is not what you are doing right now. Are you getting any love in this relationship, Thomas? Or is it the last little bit of love will you ever get? Are you getting any bit of love in this relationship? Or are you abandoning any possibility for that in your life or even with yourself? Have you guys ever considered what you'd be willing to do for love? And I think, Thomas, you mentioned that. You're like, well, I kind of like the movie Wuthering Heights because it kind of plays into that like destructive, toxic passion, or at least the unintegration of it. It's like, I'd fucking kill for you, Kathy. Right? I'd slit his fucking throat. Right? And you're like, okay, this is kind of funny. But guess what comes out? That's the shadow. Right? Why does that only come out with Kathy? And also, it sounds romantic when it's just about what you do for her. But have you ever really considered that you're actually doing it for yourself? And then immediately everybody's dicks go like this and girls dry up and they're like, mm-mm, mm-mm, right? And you're like, wait, 1 second. You're not aware of who you're really doing this for, are you? You're doing it for you. The you, on a small sense, is the ego. You do it for you in the truest sense. It has them in mind and the greatest possible good you can create in this lifetime. Do it for your soul. It's not void of your self-interest. It takes your self-interest in order to truly do it. I actually realize that to walk my soul's path is the most selfish thing I've ever done. What? Yep. The most selfish thing I've ever done. In fact, if you guys were more selfish, you would consider your soul and the souls of others. You will find the part of you that cares, not the image that you need to prove to yourself that you are caring. Let that part of yourself be revealed. You don't understand the beauties of your heart until you could recognize the foundation that allows it to express its love. All right, gentlemen, anything else before I go ahead and rob a bank and integrate some dark nature?
Lots of trying, lots of negotiating.
Work through the
Lots of,
fears.
like, okay, I'll ask Trevor for help, but I'm gonna fucking emotionally detach from it.
Recognize the fear that makes you want to emotionally detach. I've often noticed that where it's really hard to ground, there's a fear we don't want to admit. Like, I even feel that today. As I did the body work with my coach, I noticed that I was like, didn't want to be in my body. I was like, no, too much sadness. I'll be seen. And it's like, okay, it's recognize the fear. Recognize the fear. Fear of getting hurt, the fear of loss, you know. I think that there's a lot of pain. You know? It's like, oh, I don't want to get hurt. It's like, well, you're already in pain, right?
Yeah. I can anyway. You can almost feel it on the other side of the door.
Feel what?
Radiates through. Feel like the love and like everything through the fear and through everything.
You could feel it. You could feel it. And I think, by the way, don't try to analyze your fears more than to experience them. I think fear is one of the easiest feelings to feel. Can we establish that? Fear, you're like, if I can turn into a pillar of salt, and you're like, fear of what? And you're like, well, I'm a fear of sunlight. And you're like, no, you're in your head, just feel it. It'll show you what you're afraid of. All right, everybody, this is really intense. God bless you guys. You're doing great. You're doing really great. Allo, I'm really proud of you. I'm really proud of you. 10 weeks, look what you could do. You don't understand. Like, that's really incredible. Really incredible progress. You're not the same person I was talking to the other day. You've walked up to the door and you've taken a step through, and you're less alone than you've ever been. So that fear of being alone, brother, you're holding that little boy's hand and you're taking him into the world and you go, baby, you got a shot at life. We're gonna do this together. I mean, he's just so inspired. He's looking at his hero. He's looking at his hero. He's screaming it out, you're my hero, you're my hero, you're my hero. Both of you guys. Great work, and I'll see you guys Thursday. Bye-bye.